Welcome everyone to our grant writing info session. My name is Mohammed and I'm joined with Ryan Knight. So let's get started. So before we begin, I would like to talk about some Zoom meeting etiquettes that we should go through. First, we would like everyone to change their names and to use the names that they registered with for this event. Also to turn on their cameras if they can, since we are meeting virtually. Also to raise your hand, and this is if you have any questions and you want to get our attention, and to also be respectful throughout the session. And lastly, to use the chat, and don't hesitate to ask any questions in the chat if you don't want to speak on camera, and to also mute your microphone. This is just so any background noise doesn't get involved. Also, we would like to begin by acknowledging the indigenous people of the lands that we are in today. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nation peoples that we call this land home. So about Empowered Forex. Empowered Forex is a business consulting firm who support all entrepreneurs by providing co-working and business service memberships, as well as training and consulting. We can help you with business planning, operations, financial projections, bookkeeping, grant writing, and marketing strategies. We have various offerings depending on where you are in your journey from ideation to scaling up. If you want to learn more or connect with us, please visit our website at empoweredforex.com, or you can email us at connect@empoweredforex.com to set up a discovery call. So here's a brief list of some of the training programs that we offer at Empowered Forex. There's the Social Enterprise Certification Program, the Mental Health Standard Certification, the Mental Health Supporting Youth Certification, and the Grant Hunter University. Here's a list of some of the services we offer. First is our virtual offices that we have at 3 different locations. That is the Brampton, Scarborough, and Ottawa location. This is where you can obtain a professional address, business support, among many other things, as well as marketing, grant writing, technology, and management related services. Lastly, we offer BizGrams, which is a promotional live show meant for entrepreneurs to promote their business. Some of our upcoming events includes the grant writing info session and the working groups, the DIY to modify series, which is the do it yourself to make others do it for you series. There's the monthly networking event and the financial literacy event. You can also register for these events here and during this QR code. So this is a brief timeline of how we work with our clients in regards to grant writing. First, we have the DIY grant info session and the Grant Hunter University, which is a course for social enterprise business owners and nonprofit founders that are on the hunt for grants and would like a guided checklist to help along the way. Along the way, we have the funding summary, and this is where one of our specialists look for dedicated grants or grants related to that specific client that's working with us. Clients can also work alongside us to complete the grant writing blueprint. And for clients that write the grant application themselves, our team is willing to review it for them, and the cost would vary based on the size of the grant itself and the budgetary constraints. The other one is the working groups, where the client comes into a physical space or a Zoom room and where they write the grant, but a grant writing expert works with them throughout the process. And the last process to cover is the modify series, which is make others do it for you. This is where clients interested in a grant can have one of our grant writers write the grant for them, and costs can vary between 500 to 3,000, depending on the size of the work. So before we go on, we would like to give a shout out to our sponsors and partners like One Full Circle, SETC, Calabash, Toronto Community Benefits Network, the Dream Legacy Foundation, Sheridan College, Alternative Savings, and Zenisi. So here's today's agenda. You will meet with our facilitator, Ryan, where he will give an overview of the grants and how you can apply for them throughout your journey. So I would like to introduce you all to Ryan, our key facilitator. Ryan is a serial social entrepreneur who started a few social enterprises, namely Detailing Nights, but also Service Kingdom, Executives Power Up, and Black Panthers Cage. He's also the co-founder of the Afro-Caribbean Business Network, where he works with entrepreneurs of Afro and Caribbean heritage to help them figure out what stage they're in and to help them grow exponentially. So now I'll pass it on to him.
Awesome, much appreciated. And always good to see you, and we appreciate you being present. One big thing that I am part of is, of course, the Afro-Caribbean Business Network, being one of the co-founders and one of the current co-executive directors. We really came to being because 5 years ago, and we're excited to announce this is our 5th year anniversary. So the invitations for our 5-year celebration that's happening December 3rd should be going out soon. So watch your inbox for that. But really seeing a gap with being an entrepreneur, looking forward to growing and franchising our company. And there weren't any Black focused business organizations in existence that had the mandate to scale up companies. So we took it upon ourselves, brought 6 other entrepreneurs together and said, could we create this entity that would sit down with a business owner, figure out what stage they're in, and then help them create a strategy to exponentially grow their companies. And thus ACBN was born. Next slide. So over the last 5 years, we've actually been able to engage with over 5,000 Black entrepreneurs in our community, whether it's through info sessions and networking events like this, or going through our accelerator. We've seen that 74% of our database are female entrepreneurs, and about 91% of them are the business founder or the CEO. But what we're most proud of is our ability to create partnerships with other Black-focused business organizations. And that's extended our reach to over 20,000 Black entrepreneurs across Canada. And now we're starting to have presence in Africa and also in the Caribbean, and really being able to create this ecosystem. And so no matter what stage an entrepreneur is in, we're able to point them in the right direction. Next one. For ACBN, we do stand on these core pillars. Of course, economic inclusion, but I feel entrepreneurship is the greatest path to economic empowerment. And we always feel, hey, if you're young, it's the best time to start a business and see if entrepreneurship is for you. But even if you're working somewhere full time, having a business on the side, you call it that side hustle that will help you or bring additional dollars into the household, and you can take advantage of additional tax benefits. But really using convening as similar to this info sessions where we're able to share knowledge and support each other with different projects that we're working on. But of course, we are here for that main pillar of access to funding. Internally, we've been able to create our own microloan program in partnership with Alterna Savings. So if you are looking for, I would say, quicker access to capital, typically grants, take 3 to 6 months. For loans, usually those are processed less than a month. So if you're looking for between 500 to 25,000, knowing that a loan is one of the options that ACBN does offer. All right, so I like to show this slide just to give you an example of the range of, I'll say, grants and different capital that you can bring into your organization and to your company, which ranges from pitch competitions that we've been a part of. We've gotten funding from the city and the province, and even from the federal level, and of course, as low as $500 all the way up to over $1 million. So really understanding that you want to keep your options open with the types of capital that you want to bring into the organization, and being able to also be that social enterprise and be able to generate your own income. And we've been able to do that with starting our marketing agency and a bit of the consulting that we do and coaching. But knowing that, hey, from pitch competitions to federal grants, there are multiple streams of revenue that you can bring into your organization and bring into your company. And a lot of times when you're running for-profit companies, it gets difficult to find different types of capital, but we want to be that resource to help you identify them and of course get access to them. But for today, we're talking more about grants. So if we go to the next slide, one of the, I guess, things that we are most proud of is being able to help other organizations and businesses get access to these grants. For example, Rescue Youth International, we were able to support them with starting a social enterprise, which turned out to be a food truck, even though their nonprofit focuses on youth in the education and the justice system. They were able to then start a food truck to help to generate profits that would support the nonprofit. Also Custodia, which is on the other side of the spectrum, purely for-profit business that operates as a social enterprise, supporting seniors in the community and helping them live longer in their homes by taking care of the landscaping and household duties. So that you can see where a nonprofit can benefit from starting a social enterprise and a for-profit can benefit from operating as a social enterprise. So this creates more positive impact in the community. And this is what we're seeing the government wants to fund more of. So they've created these different funding streams that now support these types of entities, which are social enterprises. But then just standard like New Life Project, they're out in Ottawa, shout out to Brenda, being able to tap into other grants that they might not have known of, but coming to our info session, then working with some of our team, they're able to identify the Supporting Black Communities Initiative and obtain funding. And now they're actively bringing in more dollars from other programs. Well, next one. All right, so you'll notice that the grant writing blueprint, I will touch on it a lot today. I always talk about having the grant writing blueprint because when I started Detail Ignites and started, we're just a car cleaning company. We started shifting to doing the youth entrepreneurship work and workshops in the community, working with youth that are out of school as well, even those coming out of detention. We had that social enterprise piece, but when we went to write grants, because we were a for-profit company, we struggled and were declined more times than not. But once we were able to work with a grant writer to really fine tune what I had been writing before, and then we were successful, that successful grant became the blueprint. And we use that, and more so, I would say a template that we use now going forward with any grants that we find. A lot of the questions you'll notice like 80 to 90% of them are repetitive. So having all of those answers already done, you're able to copy and paste and then adjust it. It allows you to really write grants a lot quicker as you're researching and finding out that there's a lot of money flowing. Typically we get stuck because once we find a grant, we usually get overwhelmed, especially if you're doing one of the provincial or the federal grants. But having this blueprint really helps you, I'll say, keep the momentum going and actually get that application in, because we don't want to miss the money just because our applications didn't get in. So the blueprint is something that we support with our challenges. We do week-long, I would say, boot camps that help people get the blueprints done, or you could join Grant Hunter University, where all the videos and teachings that we have, we put online so you can go at your own pace to get it done. But that's something to keep in mind. If you're new to going for grants, developing that blueprint will help you along the way. So next one. And one tool that I definitely like to mention is the federal government does have this business benefits finder. So when you go to this link, and so when you get the follow-up email that has all the links, and it should have the slide deck, so you can just click it, taking you to that website that the federal government created that allows you to just answer questions about your business, and then it spits out all the different grants, subsidies, wage subsidies, resources that are available at that time. And it could even show you ones that are inactive, but will become active soon. So a big list typically comes out and you're able to identify what you qualify for and then go forward with those applications. But again, because a lot will come out, you don't want to get stuck and overwhelmed. That's where having the blueprint, hey, anything that they ask you, you're already prepared. But that's a great tool that you'll have the link and access to later. So you can go to the next one. And actually, as we go to the next slide, Mohammed, if you allow me to share my screen, this way I can go to each of these. Hold on. links here. Thank you. Oh, already good. All right, so the first one is the Black Opportunity Fund. They created this grant program in partnership with CIBC. So if you remember the Black Entrepreneurship Loan programs that have come out, CIBC created a grant component to it. So in partnership with the Black Opportunity Fund and also the Canadian Black Chamber of Commerce, you're able to get access to up to $2,000 as a grant for your business to prepare you to go after the bigger loan, where the CIBC loan, actually, if I click here, it'll show you a bit of details about the loan itself, where you can get access to up to $250,000 for the business. And like I mentioned, if you weren't ready to go after the loan just yet, let's say you wanted to complete your business plan or your financial projections or get your credit score, repair it a bit and build it up, you can go through this grant stream, which would allow you to get up to $2,000 and take you through coaching and programming to help you with those elements. So you'll see down here, if you needed help with, I guess, increasing your financial literacy, creating a business plan, the financial projections, and improving your credit score. And how they do that is as you go through those programs, as you hit milestones, you're able to get the grants. And after you get those grants, you're then prepared to then go after the bigger loan if you need it. So this is one that really helps to fine tune your business operations. So if you don't have a business plan or it needs fine tuning, I would plug into this. That way you're able to access the grants and get that done for your business as well. So another grant that I like to just touch on, even though I guess we've come out of summer already, but making sure that students that you know, or even children that you know that are in school, access the summer company grant. It's something I remember accessing almost 10 years ago, and you can get up to $3,000 for a summer business. So typically I noticed a lot of students miss this grant. So if you know somebody that's under 29 and in school, definitely make sure that they apply for this, because it's money that the government needs to spend. So let's make sure that we don't miss it just because we didn't know about it. So I always like to touch on this one. But the other grant that I really like is the BATES program through the BBPA. And so it does stand for the Business Advisory Implementation Development Services. So the BBPA created the BATES program so that entrepreneurs that needed services done for their business would actually be able to access service providers and not have to come out of pocket for the cost. So you'll see, if we scroll down a bit, it shows a lot of the different services that you can get done for your business. Of course, finishing that business plan and financial projections is a big one. And you notice that the Chamber of Commerce with the Black Opportunity Fund had something similar where they'll help you through it and you get a grant at the end. This one, you could actually hire somebody to get it done with you. So you can get your business plan done, your marketing strategy, you can get somebody to help you execute your marketing strategy and even build your website and other technology components. And now the cost for it is covered by the BBPA and the BATES program. So we've seen a good amount of entrepreneurs take advantage of this. And I would say if these are some of the elements that you need done for your business, use this free program, which you don't have to come out of pocket, but you get it done. And then when you go for the other grants that I'm going to talk about, you can now use that money for other things. And the application for this one is pretty straightforward. Sometimes I do stop the presentation and say, hey, click on it now, let's go and fill it out. But I will leave that for you for your homework. I will actually put this into the chat. Let me see if I can grab this link to make sure that you have it. And this will be your homework to apply today. And again, if you apply, I know they did get a big influx of people applying, so it might take a bit of time to get to you. Stay persistent, make sure and email and follow up. And if you're still stuck, definitely reach out to myself and I can see if I can find out a status update on your application. But don't miss it because we didn't apply. All right. Let's see which one we got next. So one that is starting to open back, you'll see the Digital Main Street. I am a big fan of. So I'll take you through. They have 3 programs actually that are live right at the moment. The first one is their shop. They call it Shop Here. And I'll focus on the ones in Ontario. But the Shop Here program actually allows you to get support with building out an e-commerce store. So if you're looking at, it can be a Square store, it can be a Shopify store, and I think they have a couple other options, but you would get paired with, what do you call it? I guess an expert service provider. They have people on staff that support you with finding out what you want to build, helping you build it, and then kind of passing over the permissions to you so that you can now run the store. But they give you a lot of support in how to market, but that getting it off the ground and building out a Shopify store, this Shop Here program has been great for that. And they really pair you up with somebody that walks you through the process, so you actually understand what's happening. So if you currently want to shift to e-commerce, or you just want to build a Shopify store and improve the one that you have, I would definitely take advantage of this Shop Here program. The next one is the Canada Digital Adoption Program. And the application for it is pretty straightforward, but you do need to have a payroll account and you do need to have at least 1 employee. So you're able to get up to $2,400 to support your, I'll say, digital marketing. You know, if you're, again, trying to shift online and you want to increase your sales by marketing online, you're able to get $2,400 to support you with that. But they also have a bigger grant called RAISE, which stands for the Racialized and Indigenous Supports for Entrepreneurs. And with this grant, you're able to get up to $10,000 to support your business growth. I do know they finished, I think, 4 cohorts throughout the summer, and they were supposed to be opening back up. So I wanted to see if it is open. Actually, so you need to log in. Let me see if I can log in and see if this is back open. Because what I heard is that it's gonna open this month. So I don't see the link just yet, but let's see if it's back open. Oh, goodness, I'm not logging in. Does not look like it's logging in. Why is that? I think I might be overloading my computer with all my tabs. Let's see. Wrong code. Oh, wait, it says it's loading. Okay, be patient. It looks like it just loaded the same thing. All right, so while that is loading, all right, so when you have an account, you'll see it kind of shows you an assessment of your current digital marketing aptitude, I guess you could call it. But if you go back to the raise section, which I'll put it here. When you scroll down, it's supposed to show you how to sign up. So if it's not here, it might not be open just yet, but I will keep an eye on it because it's supposed to open back this month. And this is one of the better grants that I've seen where you can get, again, up to $10,000 to support with your digital marketing amplification. So I'll put this one into the chat. So if you haven't created an account with Digital Main Street yet, I would definitely plug in and at least get your account created. All right. So the next one, these DMZ ones, unfortunately, they did close. So I do have to update that. But another one that is in partnership with Shopify is the Coreless, I guess, Coreless and Shopify grant. And this one, if you might not know who Coreless is, it actually used to be called SheEO. So SheEO is a network of women activators that support women founders, and they've partnered with Shopify to actually allow you to get a free year of Shopify as a scholarship, and you get a free activation into the Coreless network. And I would say the activation into the Coreless network is really profound and valuable because you're getting access to a lot of women that want to see you win. So the Shopify piece, yes, you do get the year's worth of Shopify. So if you already have a store, you would get that credit. Or if you're building a new store, you'd have a free year. And now you're going to be plugged into the Coreless network. So this link I'll also put into this chat. I do believe it is closing. The applications are closing soon. So if you know any women that would love to get a year free of Shopify and be plugged into a supportive network like Coreless, and they do have an information session happening tomorrow. So if you go to this link, if you scroll down, you'll see they're doing another info session at 12 o'clock Eastern Thursday. So that's tomorrow. And that'll be able to give you a bit more information. So definitely check this one out. Right. Now, one of the key grants that you may hear me talk about a lot is the Investment Readiness Program. So this is one of the ones that I had mentioned. We've been supporting entrepreneurs getting access to this grant from, I guess, version 1, the cycle 1, and now that they have cycle 2, where they renewed it with an additional $50 million. And this $50 million is really designed to get social enterprises investment ready to take on additional capital. So the bigger fund is called the Social Finance Fund, and that's an $800 million pool of funds that they want to invest into social enterprises. And as you may remember, social enterprise kind of is in that sweet spot between traditional nonprofit or charity that typically their revenue comes from donations and grants and fundraising. When they create their own income generating activities, that activity is known as a social enterprise. So they still have the positive impact in the community, but they're also generating their own revenue. Then on the other side, I would say for-profit company that already has income generating activities, when they start to have more positive impact in the community, reducing barriers and creating resources for the community, that now they're operating as a social enterprise. So they're already sustainable by generating their own revenue, but now they have a more impact in the community. So these are the type of companies that the government wants to invest into. So they created the Investment Readiness Program, which is a grant that you can get between $10,000 up to $100,000 to fine tune your social enterprise and then get you ready for the Social Finance Fund. So you'll notice a lot of the language that they use in the application really asks, if you get this grant, how is it going to help you build up this social enterprise idea or an established social enterprise so that you can obtain additional investment in the future. So when we do our deeper dives, I believe next week, Wednesday, we're going to do, again, a deeper dive into the Investment Readiness Program and also the application to show you what it looks like. But that is something to really keep in mind is if you're getting a grant, how are you going to use that grant to fine tune what you already have or to launch something new in a way that makes it investable and ability to scale it up. So the two main ones that are open right now is the Community Foundations of Canada and the Federation for Black Communities. And they're actually connected to one application. So when you go through the application portal, you're able to apply to either one. So if you're not from the Black community, you would just apply through the Community Foundations of Canada. If you are from the Black community, you would be able to apply to both, but you wouldn't be able to get approved from both. So the application actually shows you, and it's going to be open until November the 22nd for the Community Foundations of Canada side. And for the Federation for Black Communities, that one's open until December 1st, I believe. Actually, let me confirm that in a sec. Yes, December 1st. And you'll see they're both connected. You can go to either website to get more information, but to apply, you do need to create a login with the SurveyMonkey apply. So I'll put this link into the chat, actually the link before it, so that you can read a bit about the initiative first. And then you'd be able to go to this apply now button, create your account, and start to go through the questions. We are doing a working group at the end of this month about the investment readiness program specifically. So if you do want guidance and to work as a group, definitely join the working group, because we go section by section and question by question. And so if you have questions about how you want to answer it, having a smaller group to work with, I find is a lot more beneficial than just coming to the info sessions. And again, if you did want just one-to-one support, feel free to reach out to Empowered4X and get support with the grant one-on-one. But as a group, it's good to really get your ideas flushed out first and then go for one-on-one support. That's something to keep in mind. All right. And the other one also tied to the concept of social enterprise is the Toronto Enterprise Fund. And this one, they dig a bit deeper into what they would call employment social enterprise. So if you're hiring from a segment of the population that typically has trouble obtaining work and obtaining employment, your social enterprise would be considered an employment social enterprise. And what they do is offer two funding streams. One is up to $10,000 to support with the feasibility study and the business plan of the employment social enterprise that you're thinking. They call them ESEs. And the second round stream is up to $100,000 that you can get over 3 years to help with the operations of your social enterprise. And what I like that they do is they actually have a 101 and a 201 workshop, and they are recorded. So I'm gonna put this link into the chat because I think the 201 was on the 29th. Yeah, so both of the info sessions already did pass, but I do know the first one was recorded, so you can just click here and watch that recording. The second one, they should update this. Let me see if it takes you to a recording, because it shouldn't take you to the registration. Yeah, actually, I'll probably send them a note and say, hey, this thing is still taking people to register for an event in the past. But watching those two, and then you're able to then apply for the cohort. If you get in, you go through, I believe it's 4 workshops. I'm pretty sure it's still online. They haven't gone back to in person just yet. And then you would go through a pitch competition to obtain the initial first 10,000. And then after you finish your feasibility study and your business plan, you can get up to 100,000 in their next stream. And that's a program that ACBN has gone through as well. So I'm a big fan. Something to look out for is the Ontario Trillium Foundation. So this one is more geared to traditional nonprofits, but if you're a for-profit, I typically coach my clients and let them know you need to figure out how to align yourself with nonprofits that have the same mission and vision as you do, because then you could go after grants that are specific to nonprofits, but you can work with them and collaborate to execute the grant. So now you'll see they have various grants ranging from, what do they have? the Resilient Communities Fund, the Community Investments Grants, the Youth Opportunities Fund, which was one of the bigger grants that we had initially gotten with Detail Ignites, and the Community Building Fund. And they have other grant programs where this link with this local poverty reduction. So if you're working with a nonprofit, if your mission with your business is to reduce poverty, and you find a nonprofit that also has that same mission, you'd be able to collaborate and go after a fund like this, where now you're able to execute the grant together, instead of if you try to go after this grant as a for-profit company, you would be declined and you wouldn't even actually get through eligibility, because for Ontario Trillium Foundation grants, you typically do have to be a nonprofit and a registered nonprofit, and usually over 2 years. For the Youth Opportunities Fund, you can be a grassroots organization, so you don't have to be registered, but typically it's not an existing for-profit company. You wouldn't be eligible. You'd have to actually have a grassroots organization. So a lot of these things, hey, it's a lot of information. Again, feel free to connect with the Empowered for X team to really break it down so you can understand how to navigate and collaborate with other nonprofits. And I've seen it really open up the amount of grants that we were able to go after by first partnering and collaborating with nonprofits, and then we created our own nonprofit with the ACBN. And just to show you this portal as well, for the Ontario grant portal, at any given time, oh, let me go to the top. There are 20 to 30 grants that are open that the Ontario government has. And I would warn you, the Ontario government process to obtain these grants and write the applications is tedious. It does take some persistence, but they are there, and we have been successful with some of these grants. So it's definitely possible. It just takes some time and, like I said, persistence to get through it. But now if you're partnered with a nonprofit that aligns with one of these objectives, they typically take the lead, so you can leverage their grant writing process, so you don't have to figure it out on your own. You can actually collaborate and go after these grants together. So just something to keep in mind around, if you're a for-profit, don't feel like you're stuck, because there's not a lot of grants that are for for-profit companies, except for, like we mentioned, Digital Main Street or something like Investment Readiness Program. You actually want to open yourself up to more grants that are out there by aligning yourself with nonprofits that share your mission. And you can see there, grants are flowing all the time. So I'll stop sharing there. And then Mohammed, if you can continue to share and continue the slide deck. Perfect, perfect. All right, so you can go to the next one. Okay, we touched on that. And we did touch on that as well. So as we mentioned, if there is support that you need, a lot of times you'll get a lot of information. It's a lot of work to add to your plate, and we do recognize that. And so that's why we want to also offer that you can just really take it off your plate and use our grant writing services. So if you feel like it's overwhelming, don't feel like you're stuck on your own. We do have services that will support you in getting applications done. So getting the research done and getting the applications done as well. Oh, you can go to the next one. I always make sure and remind people that we do exist to see you win, whether you're an entrepreneur or an executive director. The supports are here. Is now making sure that you're aware of them and then knowing what support is best to support with what you're doing. So you can go to the next one. And these are some examples of the supports that we do have. The Grant Hunter University, as I mentioned, helping you finish your grant writing blueprint in a more go at your own pace online study. We can support you with putting that funding strategy together, or funding summary showing all the different grants that are available that match your criteria and what you're eligible for. And of course, just taking it completely off your plate and us becoming a project team for you to handle the grant writing and the grant application writing. And that ranges between 500 to 3,000. So this is a quick, brief overview of the services that we do offer at Empowered4X. Sweet, sweet. So that wraps up the overview of the grant writing info session. Please do check out our website. One great thing about Empowered4X that I love is the virtual office space. So don't have your home address as your professional business address. Definitely join our virtual community. And hey, pop in, come see us. We're in Brampton. We'd love to, work with you and support you in this grant writing journey. But please spread the word. Every Wednesday, we're here at 1 o'clock, whether we're talking about one specific grant, which might be the investment readiness program that we're going to dive deeper into next week, or grants in general. We're always researching to see what grants are out there. And Wednesdays at 1 o'clock, we will be here talking about them so that you're aware. So please spread the word with any other entrepreneurs that you know that have been looking for funds for their business and could use a grant. So the next one. Sweet, sweet. So we do, if you have your phone, you can actually scan this to see our business needs assessment form. It allows you to answer questions about your business, and then that would trigger a phone call for us to contact you and then see how best we can support. So if it's easier to scan this, or Mohammed, if you want to grab the link and also put it into the chat, we can, you pretty much could get started in that way. All right, next one. Cool, cool. So yeah, we can, I feel like I've talked too much. So if there's questions, I'm not sure if there's any questions in the chat, but feel free to unmute. And the floor is open for questions if you had questions about any specific grants or just in the services in general. Right. All right. Oh, and I will put my contact info into the chat just in case you wanted to send a message. And I'll also put the Empowered4X email. So if we did have questions later on that you remember, feel free to email us and we'll get back to you. But hey, I always love finishing up early so I can give you back time to your day. If there's no additional questions, feel free to enjoy the rest of your afternoon. And again, I really appreciate you being present, and being here is not lost on me, and we are grateful for that. So thank you so much for joining. And if anything, hopefully we'll see you at the next Wednesday session and at the end of the month with the working group. Because if you're interested in this investment readiness program, definitely join the working group, because you're going to be able to go through the entire application as a team and ask questions along the way, so that the goal of it is by the end of the working group, and it's all week, to get that application done and in. So looking forward to seeing how many applications we can actually get in as we work together. But yes, thank you so much for attending, and have a great rest of the day. Thank you. Thank you. Cool. Thanks, Patricia. All right. Have a good one.